So next thing we want to look at is the dials and the auxiliary in and the headphone jack and these kind of things. So these should be relatively straightforward. Now with the dial itself, it kind of overhangs, and I don't think there is anywhere where you can see. So it's raised off the surface, but you don't see the hole. So we don't actually need to worry about creating the hole. So that can just be a dial that sort of sits on top, which is fine. But we do need to create the holes in which the headphones and audio can plug in here. So that's fine. And then we've got the aerial as well, which kind of seemingly comes out of the hole as well. So we'll do a hole for that too. So let's take a look at how we might go about that. So first of all, I can draw from this, or I can just grab another plane. So let's just grab a plane this time around, then bring this up and across. And I'm just going to move my pivot point and then snap it into there. So then I know that it is perfectly level with this. And let's just hide that for a moment, because what I want to do is just not multi-cut, sorry. I just want to expand that so it matches, just for consistency more than anything. And then I'm going to pull this out so then it goes underneath. And that is absolutely fine. They don't have to be joined up. There's two separate pieces for my high poly, just so I haven't got all this trailing geometry, the edge loops going onto this where I don't need them. So then I can come into my top view and I'll do what I did before, and I'll keep that one there and select that and Control 1 to isolate, and then come into X-ray mode so then I can see what I'm doing. So I need a circle in 1, 2, 3 places here. So often with things like this, I may start by actually generating. So if I create a cylinder, and again, much the same way as I did with the cube, I've got mine preset. So it's in divisions of 8 rather than the standard that comes in, because I know that this will subdivide nicely. So quite often I will start by just creating these shapes first, and then work like from the negative space, if you like, outwards. So I'll create this first, and then I want to bring this up, and I'll bring it above for now. And I also want to make sure that I delete all the faces, sides and the bottom, so it's just a flat piece of geometry basically. And then I'll center that pivot again just to raise that up, and then I will duplicate, move that across to here, and then I'm going to duplicate one more, and then I'm just going to move that across to there, and then that one will just need to be shrunk down a little, and I'm going to leave this one for now. Then what I'm going to do, because that can just be sitting on top, that's fine, and I'm going to combine those as they are, and then I'll select the outer edges and then extrude and just give that a little bit of offset. So I've got this supporting border edge for those holes already, and then I'll extrude again. So I'm just going to hit G on the keyboard, which repeats my last action, which in this case was to extrude, and I'll just bring that out one more time. So we've got like another supporting edge there, and then it's a case of what I can do is just start bridging, and creating the outer sort of edges. So I can then just take these two where it naturally aligns and bridge across. This one may be a little bit less. I might want to bridge across here to there, and maybe there. I'm not too sure yet. Actually, no, I won't want to do that. So then this, I'm going to extrude and hit W and just extrude this straight down, and I'm just going to level that out, and then I will do the same with these. Extrude, hit W to world axes again, and then straighten that out, and then I want to just make sure that that lines up. So I'm trying to keep as accurate as possible, and then I'm going to put in, and just close that tool settings, putting a loop here, straighten that edge, like so, because then it makes more sense for me to this, for this to bridge across like that, and then that G to repeat the bridge. And then I think for this, I'm going to come across all the way to here and extrude up, flatten that out, bring it down, and merge that there, like so. So you can see I'm just taking what I've got and extruding. And it's easier for me to form this geometry from the geometry I've already got. And then let's just take this ring. 1, 2, it's a little bit on the big side. So I just want to bring that down just to bring it inside that. And then I'll just straighten this up. Again, straighten this up really isn't that important, but I just like to keep it as neat as I can. There we go. And then I can then take this edge and extrude, bring that out, and just snap that back in here. Although that, I want to just pull that in slightly so it's there. And I'll do that across the whole thing, to be fair. I'll just shrink that down a little bit more so it's not exactly on there. So then that's fine. And I do just want to be anal about this. So then we've got something that looks like that. And then I will take those edges, extrude, W, world, straighten that off, and then just take that straight out to there, which means then this, I don't know if that's a hole. I don't think it is, it's just light. I can then just take it straight down to there. So that, I can lift that up. I can actually delete that altogether because I don't need that in there. And then when I hit 3 on the keyboard, you see that kind of comes around nicely and we've created that hole. I will just create a supporting edge that comes underneath just to divide that up a little bit. So when it divides a little bit neater. I might just do that in there and then one in there. So you can see that it's a little bit even, more even as we go around that. And then I can just straighten those off. Again, just for me, you don't have to, but I like to. So we got that. So then we can take these and we can extrude down. Pull that down as we do before. And then where's my reference so I can see what I'm doing? Okay, and then I can just extrude one more time. And then I'm going to do the offset, but I want this to be really quite small. So maybe 0.05. That'll do. And then I will, at this point, just come in and put in edge loops there to retain that edge. And these ones will bevel. Where is he gone? Where are you gone? There we go. Sorry. Just turn off chamfer and reduce the fraction. 3 in the keyboard. So we've got those holes looking in there. Then I'm going to come into my top view again. Select these central points. One on the keyboard. And then I'm going to extrude up. And I'm going to just do it a tiny bit first. Because what that will do then is just give me the edge loop initially that I need. There, and then when I hit G to extrude again, if I do my thickness, you can see that it's created that edge loop at the bottom, which is what I wanted. And then I can just pull this out, and then I'm going to leave it there for those. But then this one, hold down tab, I'm going to pull this out even more because this one's a button. Say to there, and this is where I want that D and V, move my pivot point. Oops, move my pivot point. No, sorry. Undo. D and V, move and snap, and then snap that down so we know it's in place. And I just want to rotate and make sure on my reference image this protrudes higher than those buttons. I want to pull that up a little bit more. So like that. Then I'm going to take that edge, F just to frame it, and I want to bevel it. 0.05. Take chamfer off. So then it's looking kind of nice. And then what I also like to do with this is just take out those points because it's all triangulated, which for one makes it now quadded, but also it just looks neater in topology and smooth wise. So next, we've got these points here, which is a little bit different to how we want it. So what I want to do is actually, oops, if I just pull this reference over, it kind of, the hole is in there, but then it kind of comes and overlaps. So if I come in and hit space and come in there, you can see the inside of the hole is actually a lot smaller than what I've got it. So what I could do is I shrink that down to say there, which is kind of what it should be. And there. So what I've done, I know that I've kind of got that the right size because those edges are now lining up straight. Or I could just duplicate those faces, delete those ones and bring those out. And then do that really annoying thing of just straightening up my UVs, not UVs, geometry. But I'm going to leave it for now. It really isn't necessary. It'll bug me, but it'll be fine. So then what I want to do is take, not extrude the whole lot, get my multi-cut, and I'm going to put an edge loop on both of those. And you know what? I am just going to do the one, and then I'll duplicate it. Just because it'll be, I'm thinking this might be a little bit faffy. I'm going to snap that down so it's the same level as this. So I'm going to move my pivot point on my key, mouse cursor, sorry, over that point so that I know that it's perfectly level. And then I'm going to extrude outwards. I've got 3 in the keyboard. So I got it to the right and it's smooth there. So that's going to create these overlapping faces, but I can delete those. And then it will just sit on the top quite nicely. What I might want to do is just take that and extrude it in thickness negative 0.02. Let's just come underneath 0.1. Negative 0.1 is quite a lot. No, I think I'm just going to leave it without the extrusion. Maybe just shrink it in a little bit so it kind of comes back on itself, if you see what I mean. And then I can delete those central faces. Well, not delete them, but extrude those back down. I don't need this initial extrusion down. Thinking about it. So let's just clean this up. So that initial extrusion down I didn't need to do. So I have got some unnecessary geometry. That's fine. So it's still there. That's all cleaned up a little bit now. And then it means that with this geometry, I can extrude down and that will just fit through that gap where I had it a moment ago. So this is when I wanted to extrude down. And then I'm going to just pull it in a little bit because it kind of looks like it domes in, but it's hard to kind of see. And then I might hit G just to pull that down, oops, a bit more. And then just pull that in a bit more, like so. It'll just be textured black anyway, but pretty much. And then I'm going to delete those edges. And then I want to just put in an edge loop actually here that is the same height as that. I have a bit of a definition there. So I'm going to take these edges and bevel these edges. And I might just bevel that bottom. No, I'll leave that for now. Lower the fraction. I'm a bit concerned about what's going on that edge, so let me just come back. I'm going to select all those verts and merge. So there was some overlapping, so it's gone down from 98 to 90. So because that wasn't behaving like it should have done, if you have a look back on that. And now when I bevel, that's better because it wasn't even, and it's like, okay, that shouldn't really be happening. So I turned chamfer off and it was all wonky. So I just wanted to double check that. And then hit 3. And then we've got that kind of protruding jack thing in there. And then what I can do is basically delete those and that. And I'm just going to take, if I select that, then I can, yeah, so because it's a separate piece of geometry now, the way that I've done it. So the underneath is just this with the hole cut out, and I don't actually need that edge, not that it makes a difference. And then that is essentially just a kind of, inverted bowler hat, which, was it, ooh, no, what's going on? Okay, that's why. It's just moved the whole lot down there. So that now, because I've moved it in, it's going to be annoying. I need to line that back. So it's not separate. It is a separate piece, but it's still classed as the same geometry. So I've got that there, and then will shift right click and duplicate faces. Center my pivot, move that across. I have deleted too much of that face. So let me just come back. Before I deleted this, there we go. Row selection. I just want to delete all there. Okay, so with that done, I can then take those faces. Have I duplicated them already? No, and duplicate. Duplicate those faces. Shift right click. And then move those across. And to line it up, hold down V, and I can just snap it in line with that vertex. So then we've got that there. So now let's just combine those again and hit 3 on the keyboard just to make sure it's looking how we want it to look. I'm happy with that. So it is a slight that. I don't think it's hard to tell on here what it's looking like exactly. If anything, it's rounded. I think I've kind of got the wrong shape on that. So I've kind of, yeah, I'm gonna come back and have a little rethink on this. So I want this, and for now what I'm going to do, actually, I'm just going to extract those faces all together so that it's now 2 separate pieces. I think that's going to be a bit easier for me. And then I'm going to come back in, and I feel like I've just duplicated. So I've got 2 sat on top of each other, which I don't want, to delete those ones. And again, I kind of, if I go back, I kind of had that feeling because you can see how the edges are kind of not complete, kind of looks a bit funny. So that's indicating to me that I've got something wrong. And then obviously when I've got the right one selected, I can move it. And then that one, I just want to delete those faces altogether. And then this, press 0 on that, will drop it back down. So what am I going to do? I'm going to first of all delete the supporting edge here initially. And I'm actually going to delete that one as well. And then I'm going to delete these side faces because I don't want them anymore to angle in. And then I'm going to take that edge and extrude that directly down to snap onto that surface. And then I'm going to take this edge and bevel it and then add in a couple of segments, or maybe just the one, and increase the fraction down. And then add maybe a couple more. I don't know. So then we've got more of a curved thing going on, and I think that's a little more accurate. And then I'm going to take that edge and bevel that edge with the chamfer off and reduce the fraction to keep that edge hard. 3, page up a couple of times. And I think that's a more realistic version of what it is. And I'm happier with that. So I'm going to turn on my wireframe, Control D to duplicate this one now, hold down V and snap that to that vertex point there. So now we have that which I'm more comfortable with, and it's looking okay.